Science with Shriya.
Hello everyone, my name is Shriya and I will be the host of this channel. I am here to talk about science so that you can have fun learning with me. Since this is my first video in this YouTube channel, I will explain a little bit more about this channel, so please feel free to skip ahead to today's episode. The reason why I wanted to make this channel was because when I was in 5th grade, I used to love doing show and tell all the time, and they were all based on science. So after many requests from my friends, I decided that I should make a channel, and that would be called Science with Shriya. Please remember, you can always write nice comments down below and ask questions or provide suggestions for improvements. I also created a webpage that you can always look at to quickly access my videos in order. Hope you like this video, and please give a like and click the subscribe button along with the bell icon to get new notifications when I post new videos. Thank you so much. Now, let's get started. Now, let's talk about the atomic hypothesis. In the 5th century BC, experts thought that if they kept on cutting an apple, at one point they won't be able to cut it because it is impossible. And that was called an atom, as it was thought to be the smallest part of the material, in this case, the apple. But a guy named Aristotle disagreed with this idea. You might be thinking, why? Well, he believed that all matter is composed of the 4 various combinations of the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. But he was wrong for sure. In fact, more than 1,000 years later, John Dalton was the first person to propose that all matter is actually made up of atoms. So, what are atoms? Atoms are extremely small particles, which is the basic building block of all matter. An atom consists of an inner core called the nucleus and has electrons surrounding it. The atomic nucleus usually consists of 2 basic subatomic particles, protons and neutrons. Protons are positively charged particles in the nucleus of an atom, and neutrons are electrically neutral charged particles in the nucleus of an atom. As I mentioned the word electrons, those are simply negatively charged particles that whizzes around the nucleus of an atom. One cool thing about atoms is that it cannot be destroyed and are reused over and over again in this world. So we can share the same atoms that were once present in the bodies of dinosaurs. Also, it is very hard to take an atom apart, and if you manage to do that, there could be a huge explosion. What do we have as a snack? Sadly, there's only one atom left. Well, do you want to share? Sure. Now that we know what an atom is, let's talk about elements. An element is a substance that cannot be broken down into any other substance, and they are made up of their own type of atom. All the elements are arranged in the periodic table of elements. The periodic table of elements is a chart that lists the elements in horizontal rows by their atomic number and in vertical columns by their similar electron arrangements and chemical properties. There are specifically 118 elements, 96 of what happen naturally. As I said, all of the elements have a specific type of atom. For example, carbon has an atom different than borons. But how do we tell the differences between the elements? Well, let's zoom in to one of these elements, oxygen. In the picture, you can see 3 things that are labeled: the atomic number, the element symbol, and the atomic mass. The atomic number shows how many protons are in the nucleus of an atom. So, oxygen has 8 protons in the nucleus. The atomic number is the best way to tell the differences between the elements. Another way of telling the differences, well, the element symbol. It's usually just a 1, 2, or sometimes a 3-letter word that represents the elements so that you don't have to write the full lame in that tiny little box. But some elements like sodium have a symbol that is not related to the name at all. Why do you think that sometimes that is true? Well, originally these names were in Latin. Sodium's in Latin was natrium. So the element symbol is Na, not S, which is actually sulfur. There is also a thing that is labeled atomic mass. The atomic mass is the weight of an atom. In fact, the unit that this is measured in is an atomic mass unit, or AMU, which is actually equal to 1/12 of the mass of the most common atom of carbon. Electrons spins around the nucleus of an atom in orbits. Each orbit has a limit to the number of electrons it can hold. The first ring can hold up to 2 electrons, the second ring can hold up to 8, the third ring can hold up to 18, and so on. The general formula is 2 times n squared electrons, where n is the orbit's number. But electrons like to follow the octet rule, which is atoms want to have 8 electrons in the last ring unless it is impossible, like the first ring, where the limit is 2 electrons. But when there isn't 8 electrons in the last ring, they do some more magic. Although they want 8 in the last ring, they sometimes think that if the number of electrons is greater than half the limit of the outermost ring or orbit, then they will most likely stay. For example, in oxygen, there's 2 in the first ring and 6 in the second ring. The limit for the second ring is 8. In the second ring, there are greater than half of the limit, because 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 6 is greater than 4 electrons. So the electrons do not move out, but instead oxygen takes 2 more electrons, as that is easier. The oxygen atom is then no longer a neutral atom, but has a negative charge. This is called an ion. An ion is an electrically charged atom, an atom with an excess or deficiency of electrons. Just like this happens with electrons, this too happens with neutrons. Those are called isotopes. Isotopes are atoms of the same element that contain different number of neutrons. There isn't really much to it because neutrons simply have a neutral charge. Thank you so much for watching my first video in Science with Shriya. I hope you like this, and please give a like and click the subscribe button along with the bell icon to get new notifications when I post new videos. Remember to write in the comment section down below if you have any questions, suggestions for improvements, or just nice comments to say. Thank you so much once again, and see you next time in Science with Shriya.
Science with Shriya.